Hey, everybody. This is DFG, the man with the golden voice, the lady's choice, and of course, always smooth as a Rolls Royce. I'm coming to you live from the 571 where I'm having fun and I'm getting things done. And hopefully everything is good with you guys. So I'm just going to make it and not it feel like blue. This is DFG. So let me stop this for a second. Today's going to be a pretty good show. Um, I'm going to talk today about I'm going to talk about what's called the difference between care slash love and control. And and it doesn't matter relationships or not. There are always issues with that, especially if you're a father and you got a daughter and or even a female relative, and then always with significant others and things like that. So and friendships. So um, one of the things we always say is, most guys, if we like looking at nice looking women scantily clad. I'd be wrong if I said if I I'd be lying if I said I didn't, but I wouldn't want any of my significant others or daughters or even daughters of friends. I'd look at them sideways. Does that mean that I'm controlling what they're wearing? Not really, but there's a way. A lot of people don't say that though. They don't want to. They always got their ways of doing things. So some people might say it's controlling, some people might say it's love. But like Hathaway says, what is love? As baby, don't hurt me and things of that nature. Give me a second, I'm bringing it up. And hold on. Welcome back. Today we're diving into a topic that everybody thinks they understand until they don't. Let me know if you guys can hear it, if I can get a thumbs up. Half the time, people say, I'm just worried about you. What they really mean is, I don't like what you're doing, and it's something that I can't supervise. So let's talk about it. This is DFG, the man with the golden voice, the lady's choice, and of course, smooth as a Rolls Royce. Concern, the real kind, not the performative kind. Concern is simple, it's human. It's the emotional equivalent of, hey, I care about you, but I'm not trying to run your life like a badly managed HOA. Concern sounds like, let me know if you need anything. I am here for you. That choice is yours. I just want you safe. Concern doesn't come with strings, guilt trips, or a 12-point PowerPoint presentation on why you should do things their way. It's supported, not supervision. Control. The wolf in Concern's clothing. Now control is sneaky. Control is concerned with a clipboard and a security badge, like Fire Marshal Bill. It starts soft, text me when you get there, cute, sweet, harmless. Then suddenly it's, why didn't you text me the second you arrived? Who were you with? Why didn't you answer? Why are you breathing without notifying me first? Control is basically concern that's been hitting the gym and taking supplements it won't admit to. This can be shown in friendships, like the Loyalty Olympics. In friendships, concern is, you good? You seem off. Control is, you didn't reply for 2 hours. Wow, I guess we're doing that now. Concern checks in. Control keeps score. And some friends treat your social life like a custody battle they're determined to win. This also happens in romantic relationships. Here are the greatest hits. This is where control really shines, like a toxic little disco ball. Concern says, I get anxious when I don't hear from you. Can we talk about it? Control says, share your location so I don't worry, which is hilarious because somehow they only worry when you're doing something fun without them. Concern wants connection. Control wants compliance. One is love, the other is a part-time job you didn't apply for. Then there's family, the original control experts. Ah, yes, family. The people who invented control and then rebranded it as tradition. Concern says, I want to be safe. Tell me how I can support you. Control says, you're making mistakes, so I'm stepping in. Or the classic, you owe us. We raised you. Family control is special because it comes with guilt, nostalgia, and the unspoken rule that you're not allowed to question any of it. None of it. It's my way or the highway. The cynical bottom line is, here's the real difference. Concern protects you, control protects their comfort. Concern says, I care about your well-being. Control says, I care about your behavior. Concern feels like support. Control feels like surveillance with better branding. And if you're ever unsure which one you're dealing with, ask yourself, do I feel cared for or managed? If someone feels like it's trying to install emotional parental control in your lives, congratulations, that's not concern. So whether it's a friend, a partner, or family, pay attention to the impact, not the excuse. Concern gives you space. Control takes it away and then calls it love. Thank you for listening. If this episode made you think, a few concerned people in your life, good. Growth is messy, but clarity is priceless. Tune in next time. I'm just getting started. This is DFG. Never make love by the garden gate. Though love is blind, the neighbors ain't. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And come join me every Tuesday night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. This is DFG signing off. Interesting. I'm going to start off with you, Big Al. You're the most seasoned out of all of us. When it comes to relationships, and I mean all types of like relationships, like the ones I covered in the video. Have you ever been a victim of somebody like your significant other or your daughter or granddaughter in your case? Did have you ever did things out of concern and it was taken as control?
Yes. For me, the real distinction between concern and control are the words of insecurity and lack of trust. Because if I'm secure in a relationship, then I'm going to be checking, requesting her to give me her location and a lot of details, not because I'm necessarily concerned, because I'm insecure and I want to know. I have a gut feeling that she's cheating or maybe cheating. So it's just a lack of trust and an insecurity that oftentimes get mixed with being concerned. But there's a distinct difference. And from time to time, in my role as a parent, I have wandered into that control mode unintentionally. But when my kids and I have all had great relationships where they can say, hey, Dad, you're getting a little too controlling here. Trust me, you've raised me well, and I can make prudent decisions. So I can back off in those cases.
Yeah. Have you ever pulled your daughter over or have you ever pulled your daughter and she claimed that?
No, because I have been very liberal, especially with my daughters. There are just some certain rules that I have. A guy cannot take my daughter on a date without me meeting him first. And I don't mean just drive up to the house. I meet you and you take my daughter on a date. You're going to come and sit down and talk to me. And the first thing I want to know is, I want to see your driver's license because I want to make sure the name that you telling me you have is your real government name. Okay. The first thing. And when I feel comfortable with you, I'll offer you something to eat or drink. And while you're eating and drinking, I'll go out, I'll get the license plates number and the VIN number on the vehicle.
I thought you was going to say you was going to roofie him.
Oh, no, 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 no. No, I want to know, first of all, that your name is your real government name. And I want to make sure I got the license plate and the VIN number on the vehicle. And what drove me to that is when I was in Maryland, in the Pentagon, there were a series of young girls who were getting kidnapped. And this was in the late 90s. And then when the police would go to their mothers or fathers, they said, well, a guy in a white Toyota pulled up. She got in the car with him. I think his name is Pookie or Ray Ray. And they have no idea who this person was their daughter got in the car with, what his name was. And he just drove up, blew the horn. She went out and got in the car. And homie don't play that.
Yeah, yeah, that's a non-starter with most men and their female relatives or children. Big Dabs, you there?
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna ask you the same questions. Um, when your daughters were growing up, were you did you did you have did you ever tell them something and they looked at you like, you're saying it out of concern, but they're saying you're controlling them?
With my daughter, I didn't really have that problem. She didn't really do much. She didn't go nowhere. She didn't go out. She didn't have no boyfriend until after she got out of high school. So I really didn't have to deal with that with her. Um, and uh, I guess I could talk to past relationships or past marriage. I've had an issue. Um, and I guess it's kind of like controlling. As a matter of fact, something just came up last week where I had a friend of mine that I knew from years back um, in Washington. And we were talking, and she actually sent me, I hadn't talked to her in years, and she sent me a message that her birthday was coming up and she wanted me to send her a CD, with some music or, make a playlist for her. And I said, no problem, I can do that. And she asked me first if it was okay, because she knew I was getting married. So, and talking, and she actually sent me, uh-oh.
Go ahead. That was me.
Oh, okay. So yeah, she actually sent me a message just to check first. And then I said, okay, yeah, no problem. She's like, yeah, because your previous marriage, she made me just cut her off totally. I mean, I knew this girl since middle school. We talked, we were friends, all of us were friends in school, and she just kind of like cut me off. She said, I want to make sure, send me a message. And I said, no. She said, because what I've dealt with before. I said, no, this you don't have to worry about that controlling person this time. So I found someone that's much nicer than that, much more open to, not losing my friends, and I wouldn't do that to her. And so yeah.
Okay, okay. Now, you know, has well, never mind. Never mind. I'm gonna go to Miss Sum Sum because she has a son and she has a daughter. And I know you guys had sons too, but I want to hear from a woman's perspective. Miss Sum Sum, you there?
Hey guys, how's it going?
Hey, it's another day, it's another Tuesday. Like I said, the question is, did you with your or your dad and mom towards you when you went outside the house, did you see something that they said to you that was uh their concern, but you thought it was control?
So my dad was very, very strict with me. I rarely went to any of the school dances. If I went over to a sleepover with any of my friends, he would have to call the mom to make sure she was at the house. Like he was very, very strict with me. Um, I right now, the way I am with my kids, I do have the trackers on the phone to see where they're at. Because my son is, even though he's grown, he's a black man in the streets. So I still feel like I have to have eyes on him. So we do have the trackers. And I I watch them. I keep an eye on them. I talk to them. I encourage them, but I let them know why. Uh, Unfortunately, we live in a society where we are coming up missing. We're hanging from trees. It's just too much. And I refuse. I will be that mother on the news that took out the whole clan in one night. Like we're not going through that. Not today, not on my watch. So when they tell you watch your kids and be careful and do the best you can, that is the train that I'm currently on because today's society is different. We live in a different world, and you know they are not for us. They are against us. A lot of people. So we are all we got, and we got to take care of each other and be very on alert. I mean, that's just how it is. My dad was strict with me, but I wasn't living in those times, but these are different times. So
Right, right. And um, when you came up, like we came up, we were more free range than we allow our kids to be. Because
exactly.
compared to how we parented our children, our parents were abandoned us because we would go, Chocolate Pearl will tell you, we was 14, 15 out to 2 in the morning. You know, Apple about 10, she outside the 10:30 on a school night, 10:30 on a school night. It was like as long as one of us was around, you know, and they was with us and we were the older ones, they could stay out longer. But could you imagine your kids doing that these days, realistically? But anyway,
No,
you know,
it's just not. It's nothing out here for them. It's just it's unfortunately, and it's just too much. It's people are coming up missing. Our children are missing all the time.
yeah, yeah, and that's the thing is that you know, in going back to the subject, did you said you were kind of your mother and dad were kind of not tough on you, but they were pretty much you knew you couldn't walk out the house with anything on.
Oh,
So
exactly. So yeah, my dad, he kind of monitored what I wore, but I was kind of like a tomboy. So around that time, cross colors and stuff were out and TLC with the baggy clothes. So, crisscross. So we kind of wore baggy stuff. But my dad did kind of keep an eye out on me and what I wore and, who I dated and like um he had to meet the guys, it was not that it was many guys, but like both of them, I should say. He had to meet who I dated, and he had his hand in my life. He definitely made his presence known, and he was, we were having a talk the other night, and I don't think I had my license yet, but they would let me drive like friends home that we lived in the neighborhood. It wasn't too far of a drive. And I didn't know, he later told me that he followed behind me in the car. So my dad, I I would never know that. He was back at the house before I even got to the house, but he followed me. He says, later now I'm finding out, he said you handled your turns good. You put your turn signals on. I was very proud of you and stuff. And all the while I'm like, oh my gosh, you know what I'm saying? But that's just like one thing that, just recently told me. So.
Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. Oh, yeah, that's kind of helicopter parenting there, but I understand. I ain't mad at him. Um, Apple, you have a young daughter, and both you and Pearl got them. But your daughter, when she was coming up, when she would come see me, I'd be like, why ain't you got X on? Why ain't you got Y on? I don't think I was controlling. I'm like, I got concerned. You ain't gonna be around me looking all halfway nothing. So, so how many arguments did y'all get in before she went out the house? And by the way, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Um, as far as the way she dressed, I didn't like try to control her too much once she got a certain age. If it wasn't too crazy, I let her express herself. I'm a little more liberal in as far as parenting. Um, I didn't want to be overly strict and I didn't want to be too lenient, but I lean more towards the liberal side as far the lenient side as far as like compared to you and Chocolate Pearl. Um, I let them have a lot of liberties that I wasn't afforded at the age. They did have curfews, they did have chores, things like that. But as far as like their personal style or whatever, as long as I couldn't see her butt cheeks, she was fine. And she didn't have her breasts exposed, she was fine. If it was a little mini skirt, I didn't have a problem with that, at 16, 17 years old. I really didn't. And it is, if you look on her Facebook and her Instagram, you could see like she progressively, wore, smaller and smaller clothes. And now, she dresses in sweats and hoodies. She went through that phase already as a teenager. And now
And,
she's in her early 20s and it's not
right.
a big deal to her.
And now she's a mother. She's probably gonna think about that.
Yeah, but even believe it or not, even before became a mother, all of the skimpy outfits and whatnot, that wasn't her everyday attire. She'll go outside in some sweats, jeans, Crocs, just like a regular everyday girl. But when
Yeah,
she was a teenager, and I guess she had to prove something to herself, or she was trying to get attention of the boys, she wanted to dress a certain way, even though she was so shy. If a boy came up to her, she probably would run away, at that point. But I don't know, I let her express herself and the boys too. I never like pierced their ears when they were younger because I felt like that's a decision that they had to make for themselves. And if they wanted to do that, then we would do that. Um, yeah, I wasn't too strict on them. Just a certain things. They had to go to school. They had to do their homework, simple things. But as far as like, okay, and as long as they told me the truth, like if um they wanted to go to a party or something, I had to know everything and who all was going to be there, where it was going to be, and gave them a curfew and they had to stick with the curfew. And then if they didn't stick with the curfew, they knew they couldn't ask me to go anywhere for a very long time, you know.
yeah,
I was totally different, and I didn't baby them like our younger sister. She babied her kids, and yeah, I didn't baby them, but I didn't restrict them too much either. They were very independent. I guess because that's how I wanted to be.
right,
So
right. And that's a whole different story because that was like I said that was we were free range kids, but you and Apple couldn't be out past a certain time without one of us
no,
around.
because when you first said it, I'm like, I didn't have that freedom. But then when you amended it by saying, I had to be out with either you or Chocolate Pearl, then I'm like, yeah, that sounds about right. Because best believe Margaret was coming to get you out them streets if you wasn't upstairs by a certain time. Well, with me and Bean, she, she didn't really play that. We couldn't really do a lot of things
Oh my
at a certain point. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. We could swap stories all night long about that. Chocolate Pearl, Chocolate Pearl. I
Hey,
know
hey, hey.
I know most of the time your daughter was in the church a lot, and you really was on her a lot about what she wore. So did you think that was the difference between control and concern?
Both. There's no big diff to me. It wasn't no difference. I felt that a child should dress like a child, regardless, especially when she was in her cheerleading. Um, she was the only one with a girdle
With the what?
on. She had a girdle. It was a top, like would I have a tank top on, but
Hmm.
it controlled your stomach, but it
Oh,
was
okay.
skin tone. So the type of cheerleading outfit, it showed her midriff. I
Right.
felt that her age, you shouldn't show your midriff. So she had that top on that matched her skin, and you couldn't tell that it was not her skin until you came up close to her, of course. That's not controlling. I just felt that, children should be children.
And
And
so
when it
when the
and
so okay, and let's go there. When
when
does
they
it
turned
become
18, when they turned 18, and I told that to all my kids. I told them, and guess what? As soon as they turned 18, they did it. What they want? You want your ears pierced when you turn 18. You want to buy a car when you turn 18. When you want to do this, turn 18. When they turned 18, they went buck wild.
and
They
here's
went buck wild.
I'm gonna hit you with a curveball. Did you when your boys got as they got older, did you ever stop them and say where you going? Or was it a different type of concern slash care?
Well, when they turned, okay, let's put it when they turned 18, one of them went into the military. Actually, both of them went in there right away as soon as they turned 18. So I didn't really have to say that, but right before then, when I allowed them to go places, they did have to tell me where they were going. They did, have a curfew because at that time, my ex, he said the door is locked at 12 o'clock. If you ain't in there at 12 o'clock, you locked out. And there's been times I had to sneak my kids in because they didn't make it at 12 o'clock. They made it at 12:01 and the door was locked.
Mm.
So so we both were strict when it came to certain things because um, some said, even though my kids are now grown, 36 and 34, I think they is, yeah, 36 and 34 now, and 27. I have to think about how old these kids are, these adults are. Um, they I still had that moment where when they were going out where they are, because I always told them, if you say you going to XYZ, you better be at XYZ. So when I'm watching the news and I see something happen at ABC, I know not to worry because you was at XYZ and you better be at XYZ. And they knew that that's how I kind of tracked them. Of course, I knew their parents and made sure they got there and was there and where they were supposed to be. Of course, there was times that they did do something they weren't supposed to. All children do that, regardless. You cannot stop that. Okay, even the strictest people cannot stop their children from doing something that they know they're not supposed to do at some point of time. But basically a lot of times my kids did what they were supposed to. I really didn't have any problem. Everybody thought I had very well mannered children and they did what they were supposed to. They was respectful and they stayed out of trouble till a certain point. But when they turned 18, they every single one of them acted crazy when they turned 18. They just went crazy. They just decided to do some crazy stuff. They done tattooed their whole body, got ears, both ears pierced, you know. You
Still
know,
got a
it
nose ring.
did no, I don't think any of them got a nose ring.
So I'm saying that.
Yeah, I think, but one of them actually have the majority of his body tattooed. Because I was at the time against tattoos. Uh, then only person that doesn't have a tattoo is Nicole. So that was the only one. My daughter doesn't have a tattoo, but and she doesn't have her ears pierced. But that's because she was allergic to nickel, and every time I got it pierced, it would close right back up. But until this day, she still don't have it pierced. But it's just that was the point. It's just the fact that yes, I was strict to a certain point, but it was strict of concern because I didn't want my children to get harmed or in any type of danger because we lived in the South. A lot of people
Right.
up north didn't have to deal with we had to deal with in the South. You know, they target young black boys at that time.
And you are absolutely correct about that. And I know that's a lot of the reason why you were so strict with your boys, because y'all did live in the South and it was totally different rules as opposed to up here up north. We had the same issues, but they were hidden. It wasn't as,
Right.
out there as it is in the
Uh,
South. So I get it.
yeah, no, I trust me. Trust me. It's pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting how you address and how your kids dress
Mhm.
and how y'all got grandkids, so they're gonna in a couple of years. Well, in a couple of years they'll be preteens and teens, and then
Oh,
what do you?
I got a 14 now. I got a 14-year-old grandson now.
Yeah,
So yeah.
and and it's like, are you going to have the same level of scrutiny for your grandkids than you did for your kids? I'm gonna based off of family history, I'm gonna say no. You probably gonna be like, leave my baby alone.
Well, you
Especially
know
them.
what? You are so right. And Apple could attest to that. We let our grandkids get away with a lot. That's because they're not our children. They're our grandchildren. So we don't, they don't have to live with us. Or they don't we don't have to take care of them on 24/7. We can give them back to their parents. We can spoil them and give them right back to their parents. Let their parents deal with it.
Yeah,
Definitely.
absolutely. And I tell my kids all the time, I like them better than I like y'all. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Big
I have
Al.
7 grandkids, and when I get to see them, I enjoy. Don't get me wrong. I still discipline them when they do something out of order. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not as harsh as I was with my children. With them.
Yeah, that was interesting. Big Al, how about you um with your grandchildren? Are you going to be as scrutinizing as you were with your children?
No, only because they know a lot more earlier. I mean, I have one-on-one conversations with my grandsons and with my granddaughters on subjects that I couldn't have with my children. So realizing that they have a lot more access and they've been exposed to a lot of things, then we can have those open, frank discussions. And it's more about the consequences of actions. So
Right.
understanding the consequences, they're more open-minded. And I think they're very attuned to not making mistakes. And when I say making mistakes, following the crowd, following the trends, being influenced by their peers. When my children may have been a little more influenced by peers, because again, in the military, you're moving around. My oldest daughter was in 11 different schools before she graduated from high school. So with that turbulence moving a lot, then they wanted to fit in. So they may have compromised a lot of the things that we taught them just to be friends with the kids in the new school.
And that's you know, and that's a bit different kind of situation, because most of us, you know, for the most of them, they might have gone to two or three schools, you know, or you know, like you said, you were never in one place enough as they were growing up, because you were always moving, especially, you know, especially as a senior military person. Is like after your first duty station, and if for y'all non-military people, when you hear me say duty station, that's the forts that we live at or go to. You spend more time when you're a younger soldier, you spend more time in one place. But as you get older and you want to get on with your career, you got to be moving. So sometimes you have 3 moves in 2 years. And for people who don't experience that, you know, imagine your kid got 3 sets of friends at 3 separate places in the same time frame. And you know, military brats will tell you they can make friends, but they don't go too deep, because they know, you know, I may never see them again. So it's a whole different ball game. Go ahead, Big Al.
Yeah, you mentioned 2 or 3 moves in 2 years. I had one year where we had to move 3 times, and my children were in 3 different schools in one school year. And one of the things they shared with me was either you have to be the class clown or you have to conform to get into groups just to be accepted. And that's one of the big differences between my children and my grandchildren. They've all gone to the grandchildren have been raised up in the same school in elementary, middle school, and high school, unlike my children.
Yep, that's a good way of putting things, and giving a whole, because it, you know, a lot of people look at the military and they see all the upside, but they don't see all that stuff that we're talking about right now. And like you said, your grandchildren probably have a little more steadier thing, and you know, but that happens a lot. Miss Kim, how you doing tonight?
I'm well.
About to say, hopefully I ain't put you to sleep. Um, you know, you and I have had those conversations before. Um, you know, your daughters didn't wear the crazy stuff, and you know, you didn't wear the crazy, you know, for the 80s, you didn't wear the crazy stuff after a certain time. So what's the difference in your difference? Have you ever had to make that call to one of your daughters and say, "Hey, you know, you got this. I don't know. That might not be the move right now." As a, you know, I know it's kind of hard when you say when you're older, but when they were young, how many did you have to do that a lot?
When they were younger,
Yeah.
no, they barely put on a skirt or dress unless we went to church. Um, they didn't like the shorty shorts. They had to be knee length because that's how they had to wear them at school. Um, they didn't want to show cleavage. They like that now. They're not, how can I say it? They don't like showing all that skin. Um, Nina did, I think, I can't remember, at a birthday. She went out with an older young lady that's also a probation officer. And I called her, I was like, do not put that on again. She was like, Mom, I didn't realize it was that short. I was like, yeah, you could wear some leggings up under that if you put that on, because that looked like a shirt. And but other than that, I didn't have any issues with the way they dress, not while they were in school, and not really now, because Nina wear a uniform 5 days a week. And when she go home and on the weekend, all she want to put on some stretch pants, sweats, or something like that. Chelsea, she's very petite. She's not definitely gonna put on no shorty shorts. Her shorts are knee length. They just very conservative young ladies like me. I was small growing coming up. I was very petite, but I still did not wear like going to the beach 2-piece bathing suit. I just was not into none of that. So I guess that's where my girls get it from.
And also it could be from your upbringing and how things were in that way, because I know Bullock County ain't liberal, but all those counties around them are saying y'all that's going to church down there is like go to church 5 days a week type people.
Not United Methodist. We didn't do that. We only went on Sunday, and we're not finna be in church no 2 and 3 hours.
But yeah, and it also depends where you came up, because there were certain things. I know my mother used to. I couldn't go outside like with holes in my pants. I was a guy. I didn't care, but my mother was like, "Nah, you ain't go. No, no." And y'all, they know me. I said I used to wear stuff till it basically rubbed off on me because it was so got so holy.
Exactly. And she couldn't stand for you to go outside with holes in your drawers. I
Yeah.
was like, nobody's gonna see them. And she said, just in case you get into an accident,
That's what my
I
mother
don't want them.
said. Same thing, Chocolate Pearl.
So
Just in case you get in
yeah.
an accident, nobody don't need to see your holy
You
draw.
know,
See, that's the
they
funny
shouldn't be
thing.
worried about my holy drawers when they need to be taken care of.
Exactly.
But it was understood why they said that. It was understood why they said that. These days, you know, you hope they got on underwear.
Exactly. These kids walk around with all kinds of stuff. And so I went through as an adult, um, especially after my divorce, I went through I want to be cute, hot mama phase. And I realized, wait a minute, I'm just making myself hurt more because I got to put this girdle on, plus the extra Spanx, and then a tucking me in all at the same time, just so I can look cute in that dress that I'm only gonna be in for 2 minutes. Since
I ain't about squeezing the fat, Chocolate Pearl. I got to be comfortable. No, ma'am. I can't take that pension.
I went through that, and I realized later on, I was like, why? Why am I doing that? There are
Well,
sometimes you have to wear stuff to smooth yourself out, but
Right.
don't wear it to where it's too tight that you can't breathe. And
That's
and
that's what I
it.
was doing.
now I'm glad y'all talking about that, because y'all see stuff on the internet, people our age or when we was in our 30s, um, especially with women, y'all must not got no friends. Cause some of them pictures, and I'm not saying you as a person, I'm just,
We got friends.
yeah, it's
We
like,
got friends, but they got friends because they friends wearing the same thing.
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's like
They
y'all don't
friends
like
wearing the
each
same
other.
thing.
So y'all don't like each other because my partners
They
and
don't
I,
think there's anything wrong with it though. That's the thing. If you have people that stand in agreement of what you're wearing, that it's not a big thing. You're gonna go out there, and and I realized even when I was wearing stuff, because when I got these new tatas, my cleavage was nice and popping. I thought I was looking real good, but then now they starting to get heavy, and I'm like, okay,
hey, that's TMI, but that's
well, it's just the things that you
Chocolate Pearl,
do.
everybody should be here for the whole week. But it's just, I think of, 'cause I know when Big Al was growing up, they wore more stuff, guys especially, because it was about being cool. And they had the women had the Daisy Duke songs in the 70s, but I guess we didn't see it like that. They just call them hot pants in the 70s. And then in the 80s, the stuff we wore, I mean, I remember a picture you clowned me, a picture I had. You said looked like I had on skinny jeans. I was like, that was 1988. What do you expect? I was skinny. Oh,
That's what I was gonna say. You were skinny back then.
those were they were skinny. They could have been classified as skinny jeans because my ass was skinny back then. But it's funny because everybody who came through up in the late 80s, the biker short phase.
Yeah.
Yeah, y'all remember the biker
Mm-hmm.
short phase. That
Yeah, the
was
bike shorts. Yeah.
and ain't none of us had bike the first, but we all got on our bike.
Biker shorts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look,
I
I
bought
still
Yeah,
got a
the
pair in
biker
my drawer that I wear
shorts.
around the house. And my biker shorts.
but I mean no, but I mean, but if you look at it, now, that was like I said, that's over 35 years ago. You look at that now, women are dressing like that now. With the what do y'all call them? The spandex, the stuff you the jegging, like the legging, they look like leggings or something, the exercise pants. But
Yoga pants.
yeah, yoga pants.
Yeah,
Those
fashion always comes back around in some way, shape, form. It always
yeah.
comes back around because the bell bottoms and the high waisted jeans and all of that stuff, and then the hair, MC Hammer pants. Now they harem pants, and the harem pants is out now. So
Yeah, I don't even want to talk about that because we done
It's
got
so funny because when Samsung was talking about the cross colors and the baggy stuff and the salt and pepper and all that, I used to dress the same way.
yep.
I was never
You got the
a
hair. You
girly
had the
girl.
hairdo too.
Right, I had the hairdo down to everything. And everybody looked at me like
Everything. Even
yeah,
the earrings.
the earrings, all of that.
the salt and pepper earring.
Yeah. So when she mentioned that, I was in the background like, yeah, that's how we dress. Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
telling you, and it was crazy. And LL Cool J with Round the Way Girl didn't make it any
Yes.
better because you had to have your bamboo earrings.
At
I
least two
mean, come
pair.
on now. That's it. That's
I
it.
was about to say that I couldn't get off of mute quick enough to say at least two pair.
That's it. That's
And
it. And my British Knights. Oh my God! Don't even get me started.
see, you talk now. That's a whole different story because the stuff. I'm just thinking about how big the shoe companies are now, and you can remember coming up in the 80s, in the 70s and 80s, they had like 2 million different kind of shoes. But you couldn't wear certain kind of shoes. I don't care how poor you was. If you wore some skips, some bobos, the buy one
They
get
were
the other one
called
free.
pumpkin seed sneakers.
Yeah, and you know,
I never heard of that.
you
They the
they
bobos that just look like pumpkin seeds.
yeah
Chinese sneakers.
yeah the ones
Okay.
the ones you slip on, the Chinese kung fu slippers.
Yeah.
That's what she talking about.
Okay.
That's what she talk about, and jellies and stuff like that. But it's funny you couldn't wear certain, especially in New York, you couldn't wear certain types of sneakers, because if you did, you was gonna get clowned. Said I might have had some Chucks, and they might have had a hole in them, but they was Chucks. you know, my you know I'm glad I had the parents I did because they ain't believe in we couldn't wear bobos to get clown. But if you didn't wear a certain level of sneakers, and this was before Nike and Adidas was like premium shoe back in the 80s. But yeah, you be wearing them, come out there in the PF Flyers. You can have them in South Carolina, but you darn sure couldn't have them in New York. or pro kids and kids. We had you had all those type of things, but I don't know. We did have our wares, but we didn't all have. I mean, but it just seems, and I say this a lot. I said I'm in my get out my yard. I'm at the get out my yard age, stay off of my lawn age. But I look at some of those pictures from the '80s, and I look at some of the pictures now. It just,
Oh
I
my
mean,
God. And I remember Heavy D and the Boys when Heavy D and the Boys was out and Heavy D had those two background dances and they was getting it. And I
mhm.
begged my parents, I begged them for some shiny black shoes because uh Bobby Brown had some and I wanted some so bad to just go with my pants and everything, those shiny black shoes and then those big chunky socks. Oh my God.
Yeah, you definitely talking about the ones they basically took leggings
And
and
made
made
them
them
into
into a
socks.
sock. that's
Do
basically
Now
y'all
what the
today
remember the polka dot era?
they actually selling it again, but they
yeah,
call junk socks.
I saw
They call
that,
junk
but
Yep.
that's
socks. Yeah.
You talk about Kwame with the
Yes,
polka dot?
Kwame.
Yes.
The polka
Oh
dot
my
era.
oh
only
my
you.
God.
Only you, yo. And he had he had that those shiny shoes and the slouch socks too.
No, I'm
His
saying though,
dances with the jean shorts.
yeah, and he had the symmetrical Gumby.
Yes.
He had the symmetrical Gumby because Bobby Brown had the Gumby. He had the Gumby Gumby. His was the Gumbiest out of all the Gumbies. But you look at Bobby Brown now, you look at him back then. I like he can't do the moves no more.
My God, they got a clip out of Kid and Play now at they one of their shows, and Kid and Play is dancing, trying to do the old moves, and they say they don't look like Kid and Play, they look like adult and work now.
Yeah,
Well, one of them had a heart transplant.
yeah.
Kid.
But you look at, I mean, like I said, you look at that, stuff that we did in our 20s, many, many, many years ago, and we see that stuff now, and we like, man, I could have did that. I could have did that. I'd have been big. But then, you look at what your body, your mind is like, yeah, I could do that. Your body is like, try it. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I feel like I could still roller skate in my head.
I don't even,
Okay, so a couple of years ago, I decided to hang out with my friend. And she said, let's go to roller skating. I said, I haven't roller skating a long time. And because we used to stay, remember, we used to stay in the roller
the roller
skating in
skating rink, yeah.
USA, remember? And I got on them roller skates and I caught myself trying to skate. My butt was more in the air and I was more trying to balance myself towards the floor. And sure enough, I fell and bust my little rump.
Yeah, that's me. I'm scared of falling, but I just feel like I can still do it.
Yeah, yeah, you can, but you're gonna fall.
Oh,
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh gosh, because
Y'all know what I
You just
found out
need to
the other
shake your
day?
feet.
You forget how to skip. When's the
I've
last
been
time?
No.
watching a lot of that on TikTok.
yeah, you
That's
try to
what
skip it now, and your ass will be on the ground because you don't trip yourself. Because that your legs don't be legging like they used to. Mess around and wind up a Luke song face down, butt up. That's you know. But yeah, it's crazy. It's just crazy. But and I know we talk about control versus concern. I'm gonna give y'all examples. When your kid about to stick the fork into something that fork ain't supposed to go, you slap their hand. That could seem bad, but it's more like I care because I don't want. And plus, I don't want to go to the hospital and have to explain why my child got electrocuted for sticking a fork in something. But but you do that when they're a teenager, and it basically is like child abuse. because but they should know, a lot of stuff they do, they should know better though. But you know how, yeah, everybody knows how it is with underdeveloped frontal lobe people.
You know,
They,
I'm sorry, I keep cutting you off, but I was just talking to my kids about this today, and they said that I always gave them an opportunity to learn. You're going to either listen or you learn. If you don't listen to what I say, you're going to learn the hard way. And that's when you say concern or control. I never tried to control them, but I always try to steer them in the right direction. My kids, they're hard headed, especially that girl. So no matter what I tell her, and the more I tell her, no, 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 she's hearing you controlling me, and I'm gonna do it anyway. So I let sometimes you just gotta let them fall. As long as it's not too dangerous or whatever. And
right.
after a while, now they like, okay, maybe mommy knows what she's talking about. Because I tell them all the time, I wasn't born a mother. I was your age at one point. And everything you doing, I did it, but I did it better because I never got caught. You getting caught. So listen to me, and you're gonna either listen to me and try to heed what I say, or you're gonna learn the hard way. And then you're gonna have to come back to me and hear me tell you, I told you so. You should have listened in the first place.
Yeah, and it's funny because I remember right before when our oldest nephew graduated from high school, and Chocolate Pearl and I, we were chopping it up, and I said something to her because she was complaining about her oldest son. He's so hard headed. He's so hard headed. I said, you know what it is? I said he knows you right, but it ain't gonna come out. He ain't gonna listen because he don't want to hear it from you. I said he'll hear it from somebody else.
And that's what
But
I did. I would
it,
call Miss Wanda, tell Miss Wanda what I wanted her to get the boys to do. She would talk to the boys, and the boys would do it no problem. So that's how I did. I just did that. It was a mind thing. But you were so right. They didn't want to listen to nothing I say. Nothing I had to say was true. Nothing I had to say was right. So I used Miss Wanda. Wanda Turner. Thank you so much for Wanda Turner. Because she was
but
the one that saved me from killing my kids.
and that's what I was like, because I'm like, yeah, because you was like, I don't know, they don't. I said that's because you're right. And now, but you see, they reaping what they sow.
Yes, they are.
they all come back and be like, Big Al, has your kids ever come back and said, "Man, I should have listened a lot better."
Oh yeah, definitely. Many times.
Because it's just funny when when they come to you and it's something you done told them like 50, 11 times, and they gonna still do it, and it's like, and then later on it's like, yeah, you were right. And I be wanting to laugh, but I try to be a halfway decent person, and I never say I told you so, but I
Well,
look at
my kids are actually to this actually right now they are saying, I remember when you told me such and such and such. Now it's coming back on me, or I remember this, or you know what? And now they're doing like saying what I used to say to them. They're saying it to their kids.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then the one who has the kids, he was like he couldn't wait to have kids so he could say that stuff to them.
Yeah,
So
it's
yeah, it kind of you have to be patient sometimes. It's gonna come back around eventually. Once you say it, it may not stick right away, but it's gonna it's gonna marinate as they get older, and then they're gonna realize later on in life that oh, mom was right, oh, dad was right, stuff like that. But you like I said, you got to learn it on your own. I always tell them I'm gonna tell you my testimony, but you got to go out there and create your own testimony. Don't do the same thing that I did.
yeah, but
But they still wind up doing the same thing I
they
did after
wind
I
up
done told them.
they walk into that wall like we walked into that wall. So what makes you think? You think they're gonna be better than us? We walked into that wall plenty of times. So it's some people say being a parent And some of y'all grandparents is one of the hardest jobs to have, but it's also the most satisfying, especially at the end when you look back and you see your legacy in them, and you can look at your child and say, yeah, that's me. That's me. Good and bad, but you see them and it's that's yeah, that's my that's me that was me pouring out to the pouring out into them. And it makes you it makes you say, sometimes we'll be like, we are screwed up parents, but that's part of the journey. We got to If we didn't screw up, then we wouldn't know what to tell them because we ain't never experienced it. So on that note, it is 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, and that means I'm on about to go on overtime. Chalk the Pearl, what do you think that how did you think about the subject?
I didn't know what the subject in, but the conversation was great. Brought us back to old times, and also got to share how we raise each other, how we raise our children with each other. So thank y'all for y'all knowledge and your conversation. This was great. And sorry I was late. I had to pick up one of my knuckleheads.
Apple?
I have fun as usual, and I want to thank everybody for joining, especially our regulars. I love that because they're here more than me sometimes. Because life be lifing, and I really appreciate y'all supporting the channel.
Thanks. Thanks. That's what's going on. So, like I said, hey, just don't forget every Tuesday night we out here, we doing our thing, and just know you can love somebody, but try not to control them because that ain't that it is worse on the controller than it is the controlee. So on that, I'm gonna say never make love by the garden gate. Though love is blind, the neighbors ain't. See y'all next week. Be good.